You know, Hilda,
What?
I have a sneaking suspicion that today's episode of Coffee and Cameras is going to be the best episode ever. Do you know why?
Why?
It's going to be the best episode of Coffee and Cameras.
Ow! Your cat just dug her nails into me. But look, I'm building hype.
Don't miss today's episode.
Ow! Do you ever trim her nails?
This is the good life. Out in the sunshine, nothing but good times. This is the good life.
You say that. I was at my dad's house this weekend watching Fox News because, you know, that's what you watch in Iowa. And, you know, you sit and cry and realizing you're watching Fox News. And I was watching this lady, I don't remember her name, something Bream. And they lit her so flatly. For a second, I was like tilting my head while I was watching it. And I was like, they made an AI newscaster. Like, she looks so fake and plastic.
How old was she?
Like literally, she looks fake.
Wow.
She looks like a fake human being. Like, you're not a real human. It was really awkward. And I just kept like cocking my head. I was like, I can't tell. It was weird.
Welcome to Coffee and Cameras.
Welcome to Coffee and Cameras. And I'm going to say for the first time in like 8 episodes, I actually have coffee in my cup.
I don't.
What do you have in your cup?
Not coffee.
Uh-oh.
Welcome to Coffee and Cameras, a weekly podcast where we sit around and pretend that we know what the hell we're talking about. My name is Hilda.
And my name is Jaysin.
And welcome to Coffee and Cameras. Clink. Don't make me do this again.
Oh, God.
Clink.
Nice.
Okay, don't let me do intros anymore.
Okay.
Hey, what have you been up to this week?
Hey, I actually had a week.
Tell me about it.
I left state. I left the state to go work on a documentary. So for the past week, I've been working on a documentary.
And what's your documentary about?
And when I say documentary, please take that with a giant grain of salt, because I think some documentaries, they have like film crews and they go around and get like all this epic stuff. Like, I had me.
You are the film crew.
I am the film crew.
Producer.
So in college, I'll make this really short, but in college, one of my like intro level film classes, I made a documentary about my dad's trip to Vietnam.
Okay.
And looking back on it, like I watched it a couple times, and I was always kind of upset the way I did it. I lit him poorly. I shot it poorly. I had a microphone on the camera getting the audio. I mean, it was awful.
Yeah.
It was cool because I got to do something with my dad,
Yeah.
and me and my dad have a pretty good relationship. So it was neat to kind of make a documentary about a Vietnam War that, you know, I didn't know as much about because that's not taught in school.
Right.
So for that fact, I enjoyed it. But looking back on it, I mean, it's beyond amateur.
Yeah.
So I've always wanted to do it again. But then I got to the concept that it's like, no, I really kind of want to do a documentary about my dad's entire life. And not just because I wanted to, but because I have a really bad memory. I have a bad long-term memory.
Yeah.
I had a lot of concussions in high school, which led to a lot of brain damage.
I'm sorry.
It sounds worse than it actually is.
Yeah.
But I don't remember. Like, you know, I don't remember giant chunks of high school, college, or mostly before.
Wow.
So when my dad tells me stories about his life, my brain goes, huh? And I don't want to forget him. You know, like I think one of the worst things in the world is to leave the world, whether you die or whatever, and then kind of to be forgotten, like your stories to be forgotten. That's why I got so much into video, because I really wanted to, like, you know, tell stories.
Right.
And I wanted to tell my dad's story. And I had like this whole thought, like, I'm going to make like a 2-hour documentary about my dad's life. And then I went there, and for 7 days we filmed interviews. I got him walking around town, talking with family and friends, and doing his stuff. And on the end of the 7th day, we got up until he turned 23. And I'm like, welp, I'm coming back. So I have a lot of footage. We have about maybe 20 hours of just sit-down interview.
Wow.
And I'm thinking instead of like doing a 2-hour documentary, I'm going to kind of make a YouTube channel out of it and tell stories.
Okay,
like
which
chunks.
makes sense.
Yeah. I think it'd
Because,
be
I
more fun.
mean, it sounds like your dad led a very fascinating and interesting life, not just in Vietnam,
Yeah.
but overall.
He was a lumberjack. He was a semi-pro hockey player, a semi-pro football player, a semi-pro motocross racer.
Oh, this is before became a successful businessman, right?
Before.
Yes.
This is all before.
Wow.
And then he started his own company and it blew up. And like he led sales in like the Midwest. And
That's
it was
amazing.
like, he's done so much, you know, and then
Wow.
I look at my own life and I'm like, I'm sitting in my basement talking
Stop
on the
it.
phone.
No, you never talk on the phone, even if you're in the
no.
basement. No,
God, no.
you're talking to your podcast.
What have you been up to, Hilda?
I bought a new car.
You did?
Yay, which is a used car, which I've been.
No, but it's the newest car you've had.
It's the
And
newest
it's
car.
Nice.
Yes.
It's really nice.
Thank you. I'm pretty happy with it. And should I talk about my experience
Oh,
about
God.
buying a car?
Oh, God, yeah. Let's talk
Okay,
about
because I guess that's kind of like business
Well, I mean,
related and whatever.
I think it's also about you. And I think that's important.
Yeah. So I was not looking forward to the whole,
Buying a car?
Buying a car.
Oh, it's a nightmare.
So I just decided to do all my Googling ahead of time, which is then I found YouTube videos, which is goes back to the importance of YouTube videos. So
Yeah.
the first thing I came across, I'm like, I don't want to sit here and start reading all this about cars and what to do.
Yeah.
So next thing I did is I clicked on YouTube and I found this guy, something Ford out of North Carolina. So basically he's a Chevy dealer, right? And he actually...
Wait, his name's Ford?
No,
And he's a
he
Chevy
sells
dealer?
Fords,
Oh,
but
oh.
it's called the Chevy Dude.
The Chevy
The
dude.
Chevy Dude, right?
That's
So
good name.
because this is when I was still like about to go to a dealer because I figured that's the way to buy a car, right? So I did all my research. So I like took notes about like don't get taken by this and don't pay for this fee and all that. So I had it like all these notes. So then I started making phone calls once I looked at the cars that I wanted and the price range that I wanted. The Chevy Dude suggests that you go and you email them or call them and you say, what is your out the door price?
Right.
And any dealership that can't give you an out the door price, don't even bother. Just hang up.
Hang the phone up,
Because
move on.
all
Next.
they want you to do is to come in with the price that they hook you on
Yes.
from Google, and then they try to add all sorts of fees and upselling. And
It is bad salesmanship and it's bad for your brand.
and even if you go through all that and you know what you're doing and you fight every little thing, that's still 6 to 8 hours out of your life because it's an entire effing day.
Yeah.
Okay. So after I dealt with maybe 5 or 6 dealerships and none of them gave me an out the door price, they wanted me to come in and test drive and talk and all that. I said, F this.
Yep.
And I went to CarMax and it
Yeah.
was so easy. It was just like, here's the price, here's the tax, here's the out the door. Do you want extra insurance? Yes, no, sign here. Have a nice day. I was in and out in 90 minutes.
Yeah, and you found a car you liked.
Yes.
What'd you get?
A Kia Sportage, which I didn't want. I know you like the Kia Sportage, right?
I love the Kia. That was like my car of choice before I sat in it.
Okay, because you can't fit.
Because I can't fit.
Yeah, but I'm super happy with it. Yeah.
I mean, there, as long as you take care of it, do the right oil changes and
Yes.
stuff, it'll last you forever because it's sister companies with Hyundai.
Okay.
And Hyundai has become known as the Toyota. Like Toyota and Hyundai are like neck and neck for
Most
reliability.
reliable. Yeah.
So as long as you take care of it,
Yep.
like stay up on it,
Yeah.
it'll last you your entire life.
I'm super psyched because you and your wife do all sorts of research before
Yeah.
making any purchasing decisions. I kind of did, take your info and I'm like, I just narrowed it down to Kia and Hyundai. I did cheat a little bit, but then I actually
not cheating. It's
no, I
taking what you
actually
know.
no. I bothered Googling most reliable cars, and yes, you guys were right. Because never wanted to go to foreign cars. I don't know why. I guess because I was so like buy American and all that. So I was trying to buy Chevy and all that. So, but after you spend like more money fixing up a Chevy than it's actually worth, I'm like, F it, I'm over it. I'm gonna go with reliable because I hate wasting money. So here I am.
I agree. Good for and the car looks good. It feels good. It
Yes.
drives well, and as long as you take care of it, it'll take care of you.
That is the plan. How often do I have to wash it so it doesn't get rusty? Because I don't have a garage.
Well, you should wash it like during the winter,
Yeah.
like with the salt on the
Yeah.
ground, especially in the Chicagoland area or
Yeah.
like the Midwest in
Yeah.
general, where we use salt on the roads. You should wash it as much as you can just to get it off.
Okay.
Like once every couple weeks.
Okay.
Like not like every day or
Okay,
even every
okay,
week, but like
okay.
if you're driving a lot in a week,
Yeah.
maybe get it off. But
Okay.
salt will rust your
Okay, because
your-
I'm
your
figuring
body.
I'll do once a week in the winter. That
I
should
mean
be
that's
okay.
too much. You don't have to do it that much unless you're driving like crazy.
Okay, all right.
Like if it's building up and compounding. But I'm not a car guy, and I'll say this: if you're watching this right now, leave down in the comments like what would you suggest how often you should wash a car. I'm not saying like wash, like when I wash my car,
Yeah.
I bring out the wax.
No,
it's like a
no.
day long
No,
thing.
for me, I go through
Just
the
go through the-
$5.99
yeah, right.
wash. You know, yeah.
So how often
cheap.
should you do that in the winter in the Midwest? But if you're in the South or anywhere near an ocean, you're getting salt off the water. So it's
Oh.
constantly in the air all the time.
Yeah,
And
but for us, it's
we're
on the
lucky we
road.
don't have that. Yeah.
And I think that's why all my cars have gotten the undercarriage rust.
Always,
you know,
always.
yeah. So because I don't have a garage like some fancy people in the
Dude,
suburbs.
I didn't have a garage before I moved into this house. and
Really?
This is the first garage. And
I didn't know
I am
that.
freaking in heaven. Like I always wanted it, but it wasn't until I got in here and I was like, never not having a garage
Yeah,
again.
so nice. Yeah, not to unload your groceries in the snow.
Yeah. Or at least for me in the summer.
Oh,
When it's
yeah.
like 100 degrees outside and you're
That's
loading
right.
camera gear. Not fun.
Not a fan.
Not a fan.
So this fall weather's making you super happy
Oh my
right
God,
now.
I'm so happy. Like, my windows are open upstairs, as she knows. She comes in, she's like, shut your back door. It's cold
Everything
in here.
is cold. It's always cold. It's never
Yeah,
not cold.
It's nice.
I wear 3 layers
You do,
just to
yeah.
film this
I saw-
freaking show.
She came in with a jacket, a vest, and the sweater. And I was like, oh, yeah, I forgot. Like, I'm just sitting around basketball shorts and a t-shirt.
You're a weirdo.
So what are we talking about today?
I don't know. I think I wrote down that we are talking about
We have notes.
hype.
Let's talk about hype.
Hey, okay. So what is your definition of hype?
Okay, so when it comes to business marketing commercials, and that's basically what we're talking about here is marketing, hype is the idea that you are building the anticipation and the excitement for either a product, service, or a brand in general, or an
Okay.
event or whatever. Let's say when you watch a trailer for a movie.
Okay.
And it's 30 seconds of just boom, explosions,
Mm-hmm.
jumping up. Are you going to get the girl? I'm going to get the girl. And then, it's like, but will he survive? Coming next week,
Yeah.
whatever. And that's hype.
Okay.
It blows it up. But that's not the kind of hype I'm talking about. Like that's the self-advertised hype.
Got
That's
it.
like hype for the thing.
Okay. This selling hype, like
I'm-
salesy hype.
I'm talking about the salesy hype. I'm talking about what you do on top of that.
Okay.
So like the new Oculus Rift just came out. Well, it's not Oculus anymore. Now it's Meta. Facebook bought
Gotcha.
the 3D,
Yep.
or not 3D, the VR helmet.
VR, yeah.
And it's coming out. So there's hype that it's coming out.
Mm-hmm.
It looks cool. Here are the specs. Like if you just read the specs of something, that's hype because it's new stuff. But what I'm talking about and more concerned about is the idea of building hype for something through other means. So for example, let's say, and this is very common practice, guys. Let's say you come out with a movie
Okay.
and you pay people to review it, and then they say, it's the best movie I've ever seen. It's the scariest movie I've ever seen. People are running out of the theater in tears because it's so scary.
Scariest movie I've ever seen.
I love the movie. I'm just not going to be able to sleep tonight.
My heart is still pounding.
I was scared as hell.
And has become the #1 movie in America.
Absolutely terrifying.
It's freaking scary.
That sounds like they're paying for sound bites, not really a hype. That's fake.
But it's building hype. You are building hype for this because we all like scary movies.
Yes.
Okay. If you don't like scary movies, I understand. But most of us kind of like a scary movie.
Yeah.
Especially now. It's October.
Yes.
We're getting in that mood.
Yes.
So when you see a commercial for a movie that's like, you won't believe your eyes. People are running out of the theaters. And you get like that one girl outside the theater going, I couldn't. I had to look through it like this. Like I was so scared.
Something's here. I feel it breathing on me.
I've seen that there's no footsteps out.
Emotional damage.
you're sitting at home going, oh my God, I need to watch this movie. Like, it's so, I have to watch it. If they're terrified, I have to watch it. That's hype.
Gotcha.
You're building hype for something that is not what you're actually selling. Like, it's not like you could show parts of the movie and be like, oh yeah, it'll build hype on its own. But I'm talking about like the added hype.
Number one movie in America.
Absolutely terrifying.
The problem with this is, or the problem, let's put this down to the pros and cons,
Okay.
basically. So I want to kind of go over like what examples you might know or can think of, or how to do this stuff, pros and cons of this added hype to marketability, and then what are some good examples that people can follow in order to better do hype.
Right, because hype doesn't have to be that level that
it
you're
doesn't have to be
paying
insane.
millions
No,
or
God,
whatever.
no.
So it's like before we became business partners, I used to hype you all the time, just to, pretty much whoever wanted a video
So
guide.
give me that example right there, because that's a great example
Okay.
of hype that's not selling the actual thing. Like,
Right.
they're not looking at the video going, this was shot at 24 frames a
No.
second. You're not looking at specs.
You're not looking at specs.
You're building
You're
hype.
You're not really looking at anything. You just have a need, and then people would approach me. Do you know a video guy who
Right.
could do X? And always the first person in my mind was you, because I liked working with you and your personality. And then I would reach out to you and ask, do you do X or Y, or just put you in touch with them? So I guess is that considered hype?
Well, I mean, no, that's more like XYZ. Like,
Right.
they need this, I say this,
Okay.
like that's XYZ.
But usually,
But the way you say it.
Yes. So then I go further than that, and then I say I like working with him because he's easy to work with, he's fun to work with, he's creative. So it's like,
You're building hype.
yes. But honestly, now that I look back, I think I was trying to sell you at that point,
Yeah.
because I liked working with you. So I was building you up or giving you hype
Yeah,
for a
right.
selfish reason, because that I know then my job is more fun because I get to hang out with somebody that I like working with.
Now, I think you're looking at that maybe as a negative, like, oh God, I'm doing it for selfish reasons, but it's not.
Oh, it's not a
Because-
negative, no.
Because if you are working with someone that you like, the day's going to go easier.
100%.
You're going to get more good stuff because people typically who you like kind of push each other in the best way.
Yes.
And then you end up getting better product for the
100%.
client.
But I have to say, even if I liked your personality, if I didn't like your work,
100.
or if I liked your work, but I didn't like working with you. So
Yeah.
it's like, it wasn't like, even though I felt like it was selfish at times, I would never recommend somebody that I didn't think was doing a
of
really
course.
good job, because then it reflects badly on me. Of
course.
Just so we're clear
This
on
has
that.
been brought to you by History with Hilda and Jaysin. So like building hype, you could have said something like, he is the best. Oh my God, you're going to love him. He is so much fun to work with. If you just say, he is good at what he does. I mean,
Yes.
that's a little hype, but not much.
Yes.
Like, it depends on like how you say
Yes.
things. It depends on like the inflection and the
Yes.
meaning behind it.
Yes.
And
I think the more authentic you are about
yeah.
somebody, the easier it is to convince
of course
you know,
it is.
whoever. Yeah.
So, but how do you do that with like selling a potato peeler?
Well, I guess you hire paid professionals for that.
Well, I
who
mean, yeah. You definitely do.
Yeah.
But so let's look at the pros and cons of hype real quick.
Okay.
So hype in a pro gets people excited.
Yes.
Because what it boils down to is no one wants, like, if people have a need to buy something, they're going to buy something.
Okay.
But then there's competition out there. If you need a potato peeler, chances are there's a few different companies out
Right.
there that are going to sell you a potato peeler.
Right.
Chances also are that it's built the same way.
Right.
Not all the time. Sometimes there are horizontal potato peelers. There are vertical ones. There are
True.
ones that you shave like this.
Yep.
There are ones that you shave like
Yep.
this. And maybe it comes down to what's like fits good in your hand and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. But if you see a video or hear someone talk about it, doesn't
Yep.
have to be an exact commercial or
Yep.
anything like that. It
Yep.
doesn't have to be like an advertisement. It can literally be like a little blurb
Mm-hmm.
on the package that says, "This is my favorite potato
Mm-hmm.
peeler." This is the best potato peeler I've ever had. Your brain goes, well, someone likes this potato
True.
peeler. I probably should too.
True.
You know, this is like reading reviews. You are building hype for a product. And for that, that's great because you are literally getting the clientele or customer excited about that purchase.
Exactly.
Because you do want to get them excited.
Yes.
You know, whether it's a potato peeler, a car,
Yeah.
like mowing your lawn, whatever, you want to get them kind of excited
Yes.
that they are making the good decision to go with you.
So what's the best way to do that?
Well,
for-
we'll get to that. We'll
Okay.
get to that. So that's the pro, right?
Got
you get
it.
people excited. The business side of that mentality, the psychological side, is by getting people excited, getting people like out of their seats, being like, this is amazing. I feel so good about dropping $1,000 with you. Take my money. I'm pumped. Or let's make it super simple and go back to movies.
Okay.
This is the scariest movie ever. Here's my $20. I want to go see this movie. Let's go. You're pumped. You're
Right.
excited.
Right.
Okay. The psychology of that is you are quicker to part with your money if you are excited about the experience. This is why when people go on vacation, there is not a lot of budgeting going in to beforehand. People go on vacation, they're like, oh, I need new luggage. I gotta get new luggage. Well, I gotta get a power strip. I need new cables. I'll just leave my cable here. I'll buy a new cable. Oh, you're on the road? Oh, I mean, let's not pack lunch. Let's grab lunch on the road.
Boy, can I relate, because I literally did the same thing. I was so conscious about what I was spending before our trip to Europe. Literally a few days before, there was no budget. I was just like, I need this, I need that, like zero thought whatsoever, because I was so excited to go on the trip.
Yeah.
There was zero hesitation about spending my,
Yeah. So
okay, I feel that.
I'm not backlit this week, guys. I am sorry.
How dare you?
Jeez, I look like an amateur.
I think you should fire the lighting guy.
I should fire myself.
Yeah.
God, I actually feel like a slumpadinka right now.
But wait, our lights are facing the same way.
I know, they're not backlighting us. Ugh.
As long as my
This-
hair looks good.
This
though.
week's brought to you by me coming off a week-long trip and hurrying putting the lighting gear together.
It's okay. You can blame me.
Okay.
I said, hurry up. I got to pee.
Well, it's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We're trying to get you some quality content today, guys.
Okay.
So
Hype.
So
Sorry.
so you go see this movie. Leading up to it, there's not a lot of level-headed thinking.
No, because you're wrapped up in the hype.
You're wrapped up in the
Yeah.
hype. So the business side of that is like, you're excited about this? Are you excited about the movie? You know what's going to make this even better? Popcorn. No one likes watching a movie without pop. Do
Right.
you remember that girl in the commercial who got really scared? Yeah, she dropped her popcorn because she had popcorn. Oh, you know, you're here. You love those Raisinets. I mean, that's your favorite candy, right? You remember that when you were a kid. There's nothing better than going to the movies when you were a kid. Do you remember that feeling, that nostalgia feel? I'm not asking you. This is marketing BS 101. Do you remember that when you were a kid and you loved those dots?
the
those
heartstrings,
the grossest
feelings.
gummies on the planet that I will still buy. Oh, they're so
Ew,
dusty and nasty.
no.
Oh, I love them.
Gross.
They're terrible. They're absolutely terrible. And they took a tooth out once. Yeah, seriously. They're building all this stuff, right? Oh,
Right.
you're going to go see this movie, the scariest movie of all time? You want some popcorn? You need that large drink? Oh, you know that small is only $10,
Yeah.
medium's $15,
And
but
with the
large is
co-
only $16.
and if you get the combo,
That's right.
it's the cheapest option.
That's right. So they're building all of this on top of each other to get you in the movie to almost guarantee you during the movie going, am I in the right movie? Where's the scary part?
Because you bought the hype, and it doesn't matter at that point because they already got you.
And this is where the negative comes in. We saw the pros.
Right.
You made your money.
Yep.
You sold your ticket.
Yep.
You bought your peripherals, and we can do this with a car. You got excited. You bought your car. You bought your mud flaps. You bought your accessory package. Where are the cons? But let's talk about a movie, because I
Yeah.
think everyone can associate with a movie. So the con is you kind of feel duped.
If the movie doesn't deliver.
If it doesn't
yes.
deliver. And okay, let's touch on that real quick. I'm sorry, I jumped the gun. I think the more something is hype, this is from my personal
Yep.
experience, the more there is hype about something, the greater the letdown can be.
Because if it doesn't deliver, yeah.
If it doesn't deliver, I'm at lower. My expectations drop so far. Not expectations, but like my happiness level drops lower. Like if I was here, oh, it's the scariest movie of all time. Oh, I'm there. I'm going.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yep. Because you're so disappointed.
I'm so disappointed, and that's where disappointment kicks in. I could have just seen the movie and went, all right, it was okay.
Yeah, but you didn't fall all the way down. You only fell halfway down, so it didn't hurt that much.
Right. Yeah. Okay. That's a really good analogy.
Thank you.
Thank you. So the danger of overhyping, and I think that's a good term, overhyping. Like hype can be used wonderfully.
Right.
But overhyping, making sure that this is the best coffee of all time. You're never going to breathe again after how scary this movie is.
Yeah.
Coming out of it, not only do you hate the experience, but that disappointment is spiderwebbed to everything around it. Now you're connecting that disappointment with the movie theater.
Right.
Now you're connecting that disappointment with them pushing the drinks and the popcorn on you. So something in your brain goes, that was overpriced garbage, and I will never eat that popcorn again.
So maybe it's better to hype a little, but not kind of like over. How does it go? Over promise, under deliver, over promise.
No.
Over the other way.
Under promise,
over deliver. Yes.
We are business people. But that's actually how we believe doing our business. We promise this, and then we deliver this.
Yes.
I think that's really important because I don't believe in overhyping because I get that disappointed feeling way too often.
Yep. Totally agree.
And it can come down to the silliest things. I was out to breakfast with my dad a couple days ago. And we went out to this really great breakfast place. It looked awesome. You know, the menu was really good. It had a lot of options. My belief is if you have a lot of options, I automatically think more of you. Because if you just have like 2 types of waffles or pancakes, I'm like, why? I'm not interested. But if you have like 18 types of pancakes, now I'm like, well, which one do I want? Because you're thinking outside the box there. You have like cheesecake, strawberry laced, cream filled pancakes. I'm going to try that.
Yeah.
You know, I want to try something outside the box. So I got my chicken and waffles, which I love chicken and waffles.
Okay.
And it comes and it's stacked on top of itself. You know how a waffle is. You cut it into fourths.
Yeah.
And it was a quarter of a waffle, a tiny little piece of chicken, a quarter of a waffle, tiny little piece of chicken, quarter of a waffle. And it's just like standing on top of each other. And I kind of look at it and I'm like,
so they cut up one waffle and made a tiny waffle tower instead of giving you 4 different waffles?
Well, I mean, 4 different waffles would be excessive food. That's a lot of food. But the way it looked was like,
so you were disappointed.
I was disappointed with it. But they didn't hype it up. You know, there was no hype there. But if I would have come in and said, this is the best chicken and waffles you'll ever have, and I got that, I got that plate, it would be instantaneous disappointment.
So
because it looked so crappily put together.
Was there any pictures that you could compare it to or no?
I mean, the way I normally get chicken and waffles, which is more chicken, by the way.
Usually there's 2 actual pieces of waffles and then several pieces of chicken.
Most of the time when I get chicken and waffles, it is 2 waffles and a lot of fried chicken strips.
Right.
But it was like really not good chicken.
I'm sorry.
No, I mean, don't be sorry. It's
but also there's, I forget what the term for it is. Like when I go, there's a Euro place close to my house and I stopped going there. I am not joking. You know how they have like the couple, like those panels, you're like, fries and everything else and whatever.
Right.
And then the
menus.
Menu. Exactly. And then, but it's not like a menu like that you read. I mean like the board.
Like a menu board.
Menu board. Thank you. So it's like, I'm usually used to 2. They have like 7. Okay. So you start here and you keep, no, I got so overwhelmed
that
I,
overload.
Yes. I stopped going. It's called choice something.
It's choice paralysis.
That's it. So giving to me and to most consumers. Choice paralysis is a thing. So that's why, like, did you ever watch Bar Rescue?
Bar Rescue?
Bar Rescue.
No,
So
I've never heard of
basically,
it.
it's a reality show, and I know you hate reality shows, but
I'm not a
basically,
fan.
this guy, he's a marketing expert in restaurants. So basically, he comes in to failing bars, which I think we're going to talk about in the next segment.
We will.
But he comes in, so basically he's like the bar rescue guy, comes
Right.
in and looks at your menu, your staff, your
Yeah.
income, your whatever you spend money on, and he streamlines it so you could start making money if you listen to him.
Right.
And 99% of the time, the first thing he does is take the menu and cut it down so
Right.
people don't have choice paralysis.
Right.
So then you focus on 5 quality products, not 17 or
Right.
25 or
Right,
30.
right.
So then you put all your effort and energy into that. So that's what's going to sell best.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be much higher quality because you're not spreading yourself so thin, trying to fill, 17 different options.
Yes. And that's super true. There's a old belief, old because it's true. If you're good at something, do that thing. Like don't overwhelm
Right.
your audience. This is what we're going to date ourselves here. Do you remember CD stores, music stores?
Yes.
And you'd go in there and there was like CDs and tapes and
Yes.
vinyl records. And then the music industry started to fail. So you go into these stores and it's like now half the store is t-shirts, posters, and toys.
Yep. And maybe some CDs.
And maybe some music.
yep.
And then at the very end of the CD store, that store turned into like 90% toys
Yep.
and figures and just memorabilia.
Yeah. Yeah. Because everybody was streaming the
nothing.
music so that all they could sell was the product. Yeah.
But the product was nothing to do with the music. It wasn't. It was like
rock T-shirts or whatever.
some.
Yeah.
Some
But
of
you're
them were
not
like
going there
like
to buy a
Fraggle
T-shirt.
Rock. Some of it was.
Hey, what's wrong with Fraggle
I'm
Rock?
not knocking it, but I'm not going to a music store.
Yeah.
To get memorabilia from my
Yep.
80 TV shows.
True.
They
Although, excuse me, see here's where they missed their target market with you because you are a guy without children. But when I went into the store to look at the last remaining CD
Yeah.
stores, I think it was like at Woodfield Mall. I forget what it was. It was like blue logo with letters.
Sam
Something.
Goody,
No.
not coconut.
No.
Coconuts
No.
canceled before
Oh,
that.
maybe it was something. Anyway, I went in, to look at whatever, and I had little kids with me that were watching Fraggle Rock, so they were selling,
yeah.
the Fraggle Rock DVDs while I was buying the whatever CDs. So that's why.
Okay, I truly never thought about the kid aspect, but
So they just had to think of every other way to sell because people weren't buying CDs anymore.
That's what it boiled down to.
Yeah, so they were probably over expanding themselves.
But why not specialize on something else? Like I was always into like the rarer to find CDs, like the harder to find stuff or weird stuff or exclusive.
Yeah.
Like I wanted the CD with one extra track on it or something like that. Okay.
Well, that's
or
why
different
there's
cover.
That's when specialty stores come into play, like Rolling Stone at Harlem and Irving. Have you ever been there? Rolling Stone
No.
Records. Oh my God, they've been around since.
Are they still open?
Yes, they're still open.
Cool.
So they were like the unique vinyl. They never stopped carrying vinyl from the 70s.
Yeah.
They're still around. They're like a destination. Freaking rock stars literally go there used to go there for album release parties. And
Oh,
there was
very
like
cool,
a
very cool.
line around and like they have this cool art all over. So it's like it's a destination. It's like one of the oldest and most unique stores in the Chicagoland area.
I've never
and
heard of it.
You never heard of it because you don't like going to Chicago.
I don't like going to
You like to
Chicago.
stay near
No,
Elgin. So I'll take you one of these days. Yeah, it's not far from the studio. It's literally 10 minutes down the road from my studio. Yeah. So they always specialized in that. And they managed to stay open all these years because they never went away from that. So you knew that when you went into Rolling Stones, you're always going to find the latest, the coolest, the most unique, and all the stuff that people forgot about. That it's still in the back, and the guy at the register is the one that plays the records.
So what is boiling down to is why did that stay alive in a market that was oversaturated with toys and stuff that did not work at a store?
Because they focused on the one thing that they did well, which was be the outlier to all the other record stores or CD stores. When everybody was following the trends, they just stuck to
They
what
focused
worked.
on stuff.
Yeah.
And we're getting way off topic.
Sorry.
And we're going to like pull this back, guys,
Pull
I
it
promise.
back. So we're going hype. Remember that was
So let's go back to hype, and then let's talk about the choice paralysis. Like I love this show. I love how we can go down these avenues, but let's make sure people are getting some out of it. So we went over what hype was.
Okay.
We classified what we're talking about as overhype.
Okay.
And when you overhype, you either get a pro or a con. And the pro is definitely, sales for your business. And the con is the letdown of being disappointed.
the one thing we didn't talk about is that hype doesn't have to result in sales. Hype could be just part of marketing.
You're correct.
So
That's
like
where I was
just
going next.
talking about other business owners or sharing information. So
Yeah. So hype or overhype is not just about driving that one sale for that one time.
Right.
It can be high knocks. It can be a overall branding tool. So I guarantee you guys, everyone out there watching this, if chances are, if you're watching this, you're concerned about your business and you're trying to do stuff more than likely on your own,
Right.
or with a small group.
Right.
Thank you. And how you overhype things, the modern day overhype, is social media. You do it every day. You're like,
Yep.
hey, look at where we're at.
Yep.
We're filming right now. You were just doing that. You
Yep.
were putting something up on your story. Like, look at what we're doing.
Yep.
That's overhyping something.
But nowadays you have to be careful because people are so aware because of all the marketing that's available to
Yes.
them. They're super hyper aware when they're being sold to. So I think that's why the whole mindset is switching into value content, so sharing information about,
Right.
for example, using our client BB with One Stop Beauty School. What she did before she's planning her nail bash, which is like a big event. But I don't know if you noticed, there's a lot of local businesses that she went around and are like, do you want to participate in this? So she's reaching out to people that she actually likes, actually knows, and trusts to make sure that her marketing is up to the standards that she wants. So she's not just recommending somebody because they threw money at her. She's recommending people because she trusts them. So that builds that whole, sharing good information and
Value.
not selling to people and giving them value. Yeah.
Yeah. And value, I think, is the new form of marketing.
100%.
If you're not providing value, your service had better be so amazing that people can't live, they can't operate without your service.
Your specific.
Not what you do,
Yep.
but your specific.
specifically,
Yeah. We're gonna turn you this way so your butthole's not on camera. So I love my cats, but man, they choose the worst
I don't
time
think
to-
you said butthole so many times, like ever, let alone on a show. This is extremely strange for her to be
It
in
is.
your
It
life
is.
for this long.
She is not the one who comes to visit.
But is she the one who knocks? Get it? I am the one who knocks. Breaking Bad.
Yeah, no, I got it. Walter Black down here.
That's funny.
Yeah, thank you.
I thought mine was funnier. Okay. Anyway, so yes. So marketing is basically about providing value. And if you want to offer the type of hype that you would want in return. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it shouldn't be insincere unless, you can afford to pay for that.
Right. And I think the overhyping aspects is an old tool that is or should die out. I think it should. And the problem is you can't add value content from a movie. Like if
True.
a movie's coming out, they pay $100 million for the advertising campaign, which includes trailers, cut downs, marketing like posters, subway things,
Right.
whatever. How do you add value content to something like that?
I actually, on the way here, I was listening to a podcast and I understood this subconsciously, but now I can actually find the words to say it thanks to this podcast. So when people think of providing value, I always thought it was like, for me, providing value is how to do X, how to market your business, how to take the best photos. But providing value nowadays is also a form of entertainment, a form of distraction.
We've meant, good
so it's
example.
Like cat videos, dog videos. So it's like, is that really providing value? Yes, because you're being distracted from, your miserable job or your, crazy ex-boyfriend or whatever, like a heartbreak.
Yeah.
So, like if you're in a, like you broke up with somebody and you're watching a funny movie or you're watching a comedian because your friend sent you, it's like, that's also a form of entertainment, distraction.
Value.
Therefore, it's value.
Correct. Yeah. And value does not always mean education or ROI.
Yes. So I think that's important to clarify because I was always under the impression that it had to be a certain way.
Right.
And it doesn't.
No, it definitely can be entertainment, which is where the entertainment aspect comes in when, like, let's say when you're marketing a movie, you don't just make a trailer to advertise the movie. Then you're doing little sound bites with the actors being like, what was it like working on the movie?
Yeah.
Oh, it was so much fun. Like I got along with my coworkers really well. It was a blast. Like that is value because now you're looking at it and going, that sounds fun. I like that they had a good time. Or like behind the scenes snippets.
So funny you should say that. Just recently I came across a YouTube channel that it does all the behind the scenes, so like I have a bunch saved that I want to watch from my favorite movies, like how they got along behind the scenes or what they're doing, and I just love how they just make me feel good about watching the movie,
That's building hype for that movie.
Wow.
Because you are literally watching that going, oh, I didn't care about the trailer. But
right. I mean, this was like,
me.
So even though it was years ago, it still gives me that good, warm, fuzzy feeling about the movie. So they're not technically selling me anything, but it's making me feel good.
But they are selling it to you. No one makes anything without the intention to try to sell.
True. But I didn't feel like I was being sold to. So that made me feel good.
And that's what it boils down to. So how can you use hype in your business to elevate that value to make people go, hey, I want to work with them? Because there is no one right answer for it.
Gotcha.
So how do you and your company build hype? How do you use hype to sell your service, sell your product? Speaking of which, and let's talk real quickly about it because I don't want to bore them too much. The choice paralysis. What is choice paralysis? You already touched on it a little bit, but explain it to me like in the simplest terms.
Providing too many options to a potential client might overwhelm them to the point where they won't even end up making a decision.
And not buying anything.
Not buying anything.
It always comes down to the sale.
Yep.
Right? So you go to Target and you really want a granola bar. You want peanut butter granola bar. And there's 100 types of flavors of granola bar.
Yep.
And now there's 16 different types of peanut butter granola bar. Peanut butter with chocolate, peanut butter with blueberries, peanut butter on the inside, peanut butter on the outside.
Yep.
And you're like, there's too many. And then you go, I want a Kit Kat.
I've actually have walked out of aisles when I'm going there for something specific.
Yeah.
Like I'm buying a gift even. That actually happened to me. I'm like, I can't decide. So the anxiety actually took me out of the store instead of making the purchase.
That's called choice paralysis. The paradox here is you cannot please everyone with only one option.
Right.
Perfect example of this. Let's do pizza.
Okay.
Everybody likes different kinds of pizza.
Yes.
If you were to poll 100 people, I would say most people will not choose the traditional 3 pizzas that you find everywhere. Okay?
Yep.
So when you go to a place that we have cheese, sausage, or pepperoni, no.
That's not enough.
None of those sound good to me. But in a pinch, like if you're like, oh, it's 3:00 in the morning, let's just grab pizza.
If you're at 7-Eleven, then it's
right,
fine.
Right.
Yeah.
But what it boils down to is what is your taste? Like, what do you want? What is your actual favorite pizza? What is your favorite pizza combination?
Well, it has to be gluten-free because of my issues.
Okay, that's
but
one.
But for topping, it's usually sausage, bacon, onion, and garlic, or any one of those combinations.
Okay.
Preferably all 4. but any one of those I'm happy with, like 2 or 3. Yeah.
Okay. Plus, do you like pizza sauce?
I mean, pizza sauce goes
Okay, that's
with
6.
pizza.
Do you like mozzarella cheese?
Mozzarella cheese, yes.
Okay, that's 7. That's 7 things
Okay.
to make your pizza.
Yeah.
And I say this in a certain order. I like pizza
Uh-huh.
with no sauce. I don't like red sauce.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a fan of red sauce. I'll eat it, but I'm not going to go out of my way to eat it.
Mm.
So I like a little bit of olive oil, maybe a little bit of garlic, mozzarella sauce. And when I say that,
Mm-hmm. You
because
mean mozzarella cheese?
mozzarella cheese. Some people don't like mozzarella cheese. They want like just Parmesan, or they want like a blended cheese or things
Okay.
like that. And it doesn't melt as well as mozzarella, because mozzarella, melts to like a pool.
That's why it's the perfect pizza cheese, duh.
Sometimes, if you don't use good mozzarella, like Little Caesars, it coagulates.
You're not going to Little Caesars for quality. You're going to Little Caesars because it's 3 a.m. and it's $5.99.
Yes, exactly.
Emotional damage.
So that's a choice. So I like, normal dough, thicker preferably, but not a big option. I like onions, bacon, garlic, jalapenos or banana peppers, whatever they have, and more garlic, and then spices on top. I want it hot. I want something spicy without being overbearing.
Okay.
And the no sauce thing immediately turns people off. They're
Yeah.
like, well, we can't do that. I'm like,
Yes,
you
just
can.
skip the sauce.
You will save some money by not doing
Yeah.
this. I will pay the exact same amount. I'm not looking for a discount.
Yeah.
So some places always give me like the weird eye about that. I'm like, well, that's what I want. So what it boils down to, what this whole little thing boils down to, is people want choices. Why are there 30 different flavors of Doritos? Why are there different sets of Legos? One's in space, one's in fantasy.
Well, I guess you have to evaluate your business and your offerings, and if the multiple choices are working and
Yeah.
you're making money and you're getting good feedback and you're being successful, by all means keep doing it. I guess people should evaluate if they're not getting the results that they want, so it's literally that simple. Are you happy with the results? No, then maybe try the other one.
Right.
So not enough options, too many options.
Right. And
Move some
it's
around.
That's the issue, is that's why it's a paradox. The choice paralysis paradox is it goes either way all the time. There is no right answer for this. There is no, this will always work for you. It is constantly in flux. So people want options. They want choices. But having too many choices can sometimes freak people out. For me, if I see 300 pancake things, yeah, I'm going to get a little flustered. But I like having the options, because then it opens up. It's like, well, I don't want pancakes, but I'll take Oreo pancakes. That sounds fun. But if there's 20 pancakes things, you're like, biscuits and gravy. Because I get that. So I have it in both.
Yep.
So it's a paradox. So I think as a business, I think the best thing you can do for this aspect is to have your leading option, like the thing you do the most. Let's say Doritos, right? When
Okay.
Doritos come to mind, what do you think of?
Nacho cheese.
Okay, I think of nacho cheese and Cool Ranch.
Nope, nacho cheese.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
That would
your
be,
go-to?
if you made me think of a second one, that would be probably that.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think of them in unison.
Really?
Because I've never seen one without the other. In gas stations, in grocery stores, in
True,
commercial.
It's red and blue.
It's always red and blue.
red and blue. You're right. I think because that's what I prefer, so that's what I go
prefer
to.
the Cool Ranch.
Yeah.
So,
But if it's on sale like $2 for $5, then of course I'm going to get one of each. Yeah.
but they also have sweet chili. They have spicy nacho. They have traditional taco flavoring. They have a lot of flavors. They have the black. Oh my God.
Wait, black Doritos?
Yeah, but it's a black bag. And when it first came out, it was just a black bag and it just said Doritos. It was like the packaging was really classy, but it was black pepper jack. It was out of this world good. And I don't know what they did. They changed the recipe. So the new pepper jack one with the black bag, not the same thing. But it was so good. When a new flavor comes out, I will always try it. Because Doritos has always kind of like lent me down that path of Choice is really good without overburdening me. So they come out with a new one called yellow mustard. And I was like, sounds weird. I'm on board. So I got it. It tastes exactly like Chinese hot mustard. Like that you get from a Chinese restaurant.
Gross.
Andy devoured the bag. I had like 3 chips and I'm like, I'm good.
Well, you must like hot. She likes hot stuff. So
I like hot mustard.
Yeah.
On something.
Yes.
I don't drink the packets.
Did you like it as much as she did?
No.
Okay. So that was right up her alley.
It was right up her alley. She loved it. She goes, I'm never buying another one again, but this was a good experience.
Wow. Interesting.
So having those choices, I think, is really good. But when you are concerned about your business or branding, what are your flagships? What are the things that people are going to recognize and usually go for?
Yep.
Why has Coke and Pepsi done so well for so long? They offer that one thing that people like. And now you have Coke Zero, you have Coke Lemon, you have Coke Lime, you have Coke Orange.
Yeah. So they can
Options is good.
They'll experiment. So I guess that's it. Like have the basics and then you can experiment with the rest. Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah. So have your flagship, whatever it is. If you're mowing lawns, here's my lawn care service. We do this really well.
But did you know in the winter we can also shovel your driveway?
Yeah. Even if you don't need it, you have the option for it. So what have we learned today, Hilda? What can people take away?
Pay attention to what works and what doesn't, then just change, start experimenting and changing it because you never know what's going to hit. Just because you don't like it, it doesn't mean that your clients won't.
Offer services and products in flux. Know what works, but keep the flux in mind. You don't have to stay to one thing.
You don't.
You can offer options, but maybe be aware of choice paralysis with what you're offering.
Yep.
And when you are hyping up your product or you're adding hype to your advertisement and your marketing, whether that be on social media or like actual advertisements, kind of be aware of how much you're overhyping.
Yes.
Because it can come back to bite you.
And just try to offer authenticity with your hype. I think then even if it doesn't work, I think like if I recommended you to somebody and then it didn't end up working out, I still would not be upset about recommending you.
Yeah, right.
So it's like if you believe in it, and it doesn't work out, it's not going to hurt as much as that if you're like trying to sell something that you're not feeling good about.
That's a good point. And I think we kind of brushed over that earlier. So don't lie in the overhyping.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of people do. Like that's the Barnum and Bailey thing.
Yeah.
Where it's like, here's a person who can breathe fire. They don't breathe fire. They spit alcohol out of their mouth and it turns on fire.
But it sounds better.
But it sounds better. But when you see it, like, have you ever been to one of those shows where it's like, you'll never believe your eyes, and then you go in there like, okay, I believe my eyes.
See, no, unfortunately, I'm one of those people that goes for all that.
Yeah,
like I'm the 90% of the target market.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What do we do? How can people follow us and get more of us?
Well, if you are watching this on YouTube, I'm not going to say it, but you know what to do. If you're watching this on LinkedIn, why you're not working?
You can follow us on other sites such as Instagram at EO7 Media or on LinkedIn at EO7 Media. Follow us. Let's wrap this up. I adore you.
Bye.
It didn't scare me. I don't know what happened. I just fainted.
My experience with this movie has been incredible, especially with people fainting. Halfway through the movie, the movie starts getting quite violent, and people get quite unusual reactions, and we have a lot of people throwing up and a lot of people shuddering. But the thing that really surprises me is people faint.
The manager of the National Theater in Westwood says that there indeed are at least a dozen people who faint or become ill during every showing.
It doesn't make me want to get sick like everybody says. It just, my legs are just going, meh.
But The Exorcist is still drawing sellout houses for every performance, complete with lines around the block.